There's a lot to look at when the Chiefs play the Dolphins, and they're going to have a game plan. This is what it is. Sorry, I'm bobbing along there. It kind of makes me happy. How are you, Dan?
Oh, I'm doing good. I got the Thursday night football game on in the background. I have not been super stressed today, so I'm actually doing very well. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in. I don't even have it on because I'm not going to get stressed. I got other things to worry about. Folks, I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics, and this is our channel. He's Dan Harms. We go through the film and the stuff and give you analysis, but this is when we start to look ahead. It is Friday, and we're going to have something very cool for you. I think I'll put it up next Tuesday by the time it gets done. So whatever you're doing Tuesday night, you want to check this out. That said, this is a game that I think is really pretty interesting to me because of the ups and downs of the way that not only the Chiefs have been going lately, but the way that the Dolphins have been going. Make sure you click the like and the sub and the bell notification now because we're going to get into it, and I'm going to forget to tell you later. So when we take a step back, like they're going back to the side of the Super Bowl, right? Does that like give you a chill? Because I don't know that it affects the players.
You know, it doesn't really affect me because the ambiance isn't even remotely the same. I mean, granted, both of these teams are 7-1 in the last 8 games, which is kind of an interesting little thing for both of them. And I liked the moving to Tua. I thought that it was a good idea. You know what Ryan Fitzpatrick is at this point. Like he's what he's ever been. Like that's always is gonna be. He's gonna be a guy that tries to chuck the ball down the field as much as he can. Gonna take some risks in the process. But with Tua, you have a team that's already around him. Kind of, it's young, but it's good, and you can get something more out of it if you get a young player that's still learning and get into that untapped potential that they have. So I like the move going to Tua, and I'm going to be honest. I watched some of the Bengals game, and I was a little unimpressed with Tua so far. He looked much better in the second half than he did in the first half, but I think there's been a little change in what he's trying to do. He likes to hold the ball a little bit more from the earlier games that I've seen, and then they tried to make him get the ball out quickly, and it's inaccurate at times, and it doesn't work. He's not at the rhythm and the timing yet. So this will be an interesting little chess match between him and Spags, who I think likes to mess with younger quarterbacks.
Yeah, I was going to say it felt rushed to me as well, and not just the Bengals game, before that as well. And even when he was holding it longer, I think that plays into what the Chiefs need. Because I mean, it's a two-edged sword, right? It allows Frank to hopefully get to a secondary move that can get him access to the quarterback, but it also does expose the corners a little bit and the safeties a little bit. And we've talked about how we feel Juan Thornhill probably isn't 100% physically, but they need him back there. They keep trying to put Tyron and trying to put Dan back there. And I'll be interested to see, because for me, if you're Spags, like you said, and you want to play some games with a young quarterback, that means showing him something and bringing it from somewhere else. And that means Tyron and Dan on opposite sides to me, because those are the guys that you want to blitz. I don't think they're prepared to blitz Willie all the time, even though he may have to play more because of Damian Wilson being out. We'll see.
Yeah,
it may not equate to that. I really don't want to see Hitch and Neiman on the field together, but that's might be exactly what we get. But of the linebackers, would you rather blitz Tyron and Dan, or would you rather send the LBs?
So I think we're going to see both. I think we're going to see a lot of different types of blitzes. You're going to see Tyron, you're going to see Dan, you're also going to see Hitchens, and you're going to probably see Willie a few different times. I'm of the opinion that they're not going to change Willie's role at all. I don't think that from what we've seen to this point, they don't trust him enough. That's my own personal opinion. I hope I'm proven wrong on Sunday, because I would love to see him playing more. But for me, I think we might see Dan as more of a linebacker / safety in this game, because one, he's played it in the past, and he has that on-field experience. And that's something that Spags has shown that he likes. And the experience of Dan Sorensen is something that's going to play a big role in this game. And that might allow them to play Thornhill deeper more often in this game. And maybe we get a look at what it looks like that he's on the field more in that deep safety spot to see what he looks like when he's getting more of that, role and having to rely more on his actual instincts instead of playing more in the box. So that's my own thing. Like I said, I would love to be proven wrong because we all want to see Willie get out there and play more than 50% of the snaps when it's not just base.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to hold out hope that either they get up to a lead or they get to the point where they feel that they need to at least try him, because I think that's the key to getting him ready for next season is to play next to Hitch in that big nickel so he can get that experience. Not necessarily making the calls, but I think it has to be a security blanket for him at this point. And that's okay. It's like you're a rookie or something amazing, right?
Yeah.
And Thornhill, I tell you what, I'm not quite as concerned as I was a few days ago. When I did the Frank film review, and if you guys missed that, it went up last night. Thornhill's obviously in the frame quite a bit when he's on the field. And I did see some sparks where he looked like he was more like himself than the negative plays that we've seen where he wasn't. So it is really inconsistent, which again leads me to thinking that there's injury somewhere in there or some kind of nagging thing.
Yeah.
But if we flip it over, well, I guess we shouldn't yet, because the thing that I'm most scared of, and this is what we'll do. New segment. What scares you the most about this defense against the Miami offense?
So I was always a big Devontae Parker guy. He's a bigger receiver. He's more physical, and they like to throw him contested balls. If they find a way to get him matched up on Charvarius Ward, which I guarantee you they will, they don't want him on Bashaud Breeland. That's a bad matchup for Devontae Parker. He can't separate, and Breeland plays the ball well at the catch point and in the air. Ward does not, and we all know that. So if we get to see Devontae Parker isolated on Ward, that's a matchup that the Chiefs will not win most of the time. Devontae Parker is a very experienced above the rim catcher, and Ward doesn't locate very well. So that's the one thing that I think that they can utilize against this defense to continuously get themselves down the field. And, Myles Gaskin is probably going to be the running back in this game. Their offensive line isn't great. It's not bad, but, Gaskin's kind of a in-between back. He's a little bit smaller, kind of like Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the sense that he's smaller pass-catching kind of guy, but he has shouldered most of the Dolphins' workload when he's back there. So I imagine we're going to see a bunch of him, especially because they're injured like all get out at that position right now. So for me, it's just Devontae Parker that actually scares me in terms of a guy that they can just kind of throw the ball up to, because we're probably going to see a lot more man coverage in this game.
I would hope that we do, because they got to get some experience at it. They're going to have to use it in the postseason, so you might as well get after it. And I agree with you about Gaskin. I actually think there's a dash of Philip Lindsay in him there, because he can.
I
can
see it too.
Yeah, and I'm a fan, so yeah, that's my bias, folks. I do admit I am a Gaskin fan, but the one that I'm worried about is whatever you do with whoever's going to be in the nickel, whether it's Dan and a backer or two backers. Gesicki's been going off lately, and they can't track him. So if you're going to try to blitz, if you're going to try to confuse, then that means the backer's got to take him, or it's got to be up to Juan. And I don't like that, especially in the red zone, where they seem to be having miscommunication a lot more. So the tight end's what scares me about that offense. But, the quarterback's got guys. So
he's got two big guys he can rely on, which I totally understand against linebackers and against Ward for this case.
Luckily, they have two rookie tackles that look like they're going to play. So this, I won't call it a get-right game, because I think it is dependent on how he feels physically. But this is an opportunity for Frank to use his veteran savvy, not necessarily needing to be 100% physically in order to get some work done.
I would hope so. But at the same time, guys that he worked over last year, there were rookies and younger guys, have dominated him this year. And he's been a non-factor in games against tackles that he really shouldn't be. Like Colton Miller is not a very good tackle, and he was dominated by Colton Miller. And that's kind of something you don't want to see. But I will say, if they can continue to play good man coverage, because these receivers, like Devontae Parker, they don't separate all that well. So if you can force him to hold the ball a little bit longer, that plays right into Frank Clark and Chris Jones' hands, especially because he's probably going to get doubled in this game quite a bit. And I'm not sure who they're going to be rotating. They're going to be rotating a bunch of guys at left end, whether it's K-Pass, whether it's Okafor, whether it's Dana. This will allow them to use some of their tools to get by some of these these rookie tackles and get to Tua. And that's what you need to do with young quarterbacks. Get to them, rattle them a little bit, and make them question everything, one, that they're seeing and that they're feeling in the pocket.
Yeah, for sure. On the other side of the ball, I think this defense has been playing above its board lately. They've allowed like 10 points in the last week. And yes, they were crap teams, but that's the way you should be doing that in the NFL.
Yeah.
But it does also give them a bit of confidence. And I think that Flo, with his background and coming from New England, I think he has the idea of what he wants to do. I expect to see a safety high. I expect to see more two safety to try and take away the top end of Tyreek Hill, as well as have a guy on him. Byron's a good corner. Xavier's a good corner. So they're all right there. I think it comes down to the middle and attacking with Kelsey. There's a shock. And then, who's the next guy that can step up? Is it Hardman? Is it Robinson? Do they finally get CEH out of the backfield? How do you feel?
So this is the spot to get Sammy Watkins involved in the game. You know that Brian Flores is going to try to do everything he can to take away Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. And when we saw him, Bill Belichick do that in the playoffs in 2008, in 2018, Sammy Watkins had the big play down the field. He was involved more in the passing game. This is a game that you need to use him more, not just as a disguise guy in the middle of the field, but a guy you can attack areas to where the defense is trying to cover Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. You can flow him around anywhere. He's not just a guy that can attack in the intermediate parts of the field and then get down after a catch because there's someone right there. He's a guy you can get the ball in space and work with because he still has that speed. And for some reason, whatever it is, they prefer to use him as a possession receiver. And that irritates me. I'm not going to lie. It irritates me because Sammy Watkins is much more than a possession receiver. And this really should be a game that they utilize him to the best of their ability, especially if they come out of the first drive and they see that Flores is doing exactly that and trying to take away Tyreek Hill. Who knows? He might even double him the whole game. That's what Belichick basically did in the playoffs of that year. He had to double him the whole game. So he knows what he wants to do, like you said, and this kind of has to be a Sammy Watkins game for me.
And that's fair. I'm interested to see how they deploy the corners because we've seen games where they take a side and we've seen games where Byron follows. So that matchup in particular, because I think Sammy on Xavier Howard is a much better matchup, obviously, because the recovery speed of Jones gives him the advantage when Sammy runs his routes strongly like he does. And that's my favorite thing about the way Sammy runs. But that is a very, very interesting way. That said, do you think they can run on this team? Do you think this could be a flashback a little bit to the Buffalo game where they try to get it going? Yeah,
that's probably going to be the key here, I think, is you kind of have to run a little bit more. I think that Flores is going to do everything he can to stop Mahomes in the passing game, and that's going to mean a lot of lighter boxes. And as much as I'm for throwing the football, I think you have to at least dedicate one more person to the box if you can. If you can show that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is as dangerous on the ground as Mahomes is through the air in terms of, getting a first down on first and second down, that's going to be something that they can play to their advantage. If they can bring one extra person into the box, that will open everything up. So that's the kind of, for me, is what they really should try to do. Maybe not necessarily right out of the gate, just like run the ball 1, 2, 3. Like that's not what you want to do, but find matchups that you like on the ground with your offensive line, attack those.
I'm with you. And quite frankly, I'm looking at what they set up last week with some of the double and triple tight end sets. Use that to then be able to set your edge and get outside on them. And I think that the toss plays, the counter plays, I think those can work. I don't think you can rely so much on Remmer's side as you can on Fish's. So I want to see them motion those tight ends a little bit. But
the problem with those tight ends is they can't block. They cannot
they
block.
Can get in the way really well.
Only you can only do that so much. I watched it was tough to watch those tight ends try and block last week. Like they couldn't block anybody, and that's a big problem. You're bringing tight ends on the field, one who can't catch and also can't block. What do you think the defense is gonna do? They're gonna bring guys into the box and stop the run. And they've got sideline to sideline speed on that defense. It's young, it's fast, and athletic. So I'm more for trying to space everybody out and then run in between the tackles that way, because that also opens things up for a bad offensive line that's not very good at run blocking.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you can get them in a a 3-man down lineman set. I mean, there's room, but that takes a lot of guys on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting.
I'd be flexing and motion Travis out to the very edge as well. I like what they're doing in terms of getting him to be the focus as well, and leave the middle open. Good Lord. It should be there all day, but all right.
Big game.
Yeah. I mean, just like every other game, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, how do you feel that this actually goes?
So we were texting earlier in the week about our theories of this Chiefs team. The Steelers just lost, which not makes it a game and a half back. It makes them only a half game back with that 1 seed. I think this is where they actually turn it on. They didn't really think the Steelers had a shot at losing 1.5 games for that first place. Now it's only a half game because thank you, Alex Smith, for winning on that Thursday night game or whatever it was, or Tuesday or Wednesday or Monday, however many games they're playing on every day of the weeks.
Right.
That was. So this is a spot where not only that they can show that they're still the best team in the NFL, but this is an up-and-coming, young, very good, it's a well-coached team. Brian Flores has done a great job at Miami, and they play really hard for him. So this is kind of like their opportunity to, one, show everybody again, yeah, we've played some tough games, but they need to actually start coming out and playing it like a 1 seed, because they're going to have a chance to get it. The Steelers play the Bills this week. That's going to be a tough game. So I think that they actually put the hammer down on this Miami Dolphins team. And I think that they're going to sack Tua 3 to 5 times in this game, and they're going to just kind of rattle him, throw a couple picks. I think this is going to be a blowout, like 35-10.
Wow. I hope that you're correct. I'm not that bold, but I'd rather you be right. Because I have a feeling that I do feel they're going to attack, and hopefully the defense can get those kind of stats. And I feel like Mahomes himself is going to be a little bit patient, and then I think he will have opportunities to hit the deep ones. So I do think that they definitely win. I think it's a little tighter. I'm going to go 31-24 because I'm not sure what is going to happen in terms of the tight end. I think he could have a multiple touchdown day, that kind of thing. I think they'll score enough that it's not quite the blowout. And when they get up 10 points, they're not going to put all the nails in that coffin. I
gotta see it.
I know, right?
I gotta be bold, guys. I don't care if I'm wrong. I gotta do it. And it feels like that time they just finally put it down.
I absolutely hope that you're right. Let's cross our fingers. Folks, you let us know if he's right or you think more like me. Leave your comments down below, please. If you're not subbed and you're not used to this, we do all kinds of stuff. We'll have the live stream post game that night. We'll have the live stream on Monday night to answer all of your questions, the member stuff, the guest stuff. Carrington's going to be back on the channel. We have a kind of a thing going back and forth now. We'll get into all that, plus all the film, this, and the tailgating. So we never kind of quit. We probably need to in the offseason take a break, but hey, it is what it is. So sub, click the bell notification. We appreciate all your time and watching us tonight. Thanks for the time, Dan.
Thank you. Love talking Chiefs football, man. Love it.
Get ready. It's going to be fun. Enjoy the weather. It's supposed to be like 81 degrees down there that day. So
nice.
Hope it's snowing at my house and warm on TV. So everybody have a good one. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.